Yeah, so what was I gonna say? I was gonna tell you something. Oh yeah. So anyway, so you were saying that, so he hit you up, like he DM'd you, yeah?
Mhm.
So was you not thinking like, who's this dickhead anyway? Like,
No, because he hit me up on some professional thing.
okay.
It was in regards to basically, Aladdin hit me up at the wrong time for what he asked for, basically.
Okay.
He shouted me to basically be like, I like your work.
Yeah.
I'm a videographer, I'm a photographer, etc.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
got
yeah.
any work, anything? I'm trying to get into the industry more, trying to get some experience.
Yeah.
At the time, I'd actually just lined up a contract with a production company
Sick.
to get my show rolling. That ended up falling through, which is news to you.
Yeah.
But it was at a time I said I literally just signed off that I've got a team that I'm going to be working with.
Yeah.
But I said to him, let me drop you a follow. I'm going to keep an eye on what you're doing. I'll help out in any way I can. Here I am, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just appreciate good work. When it comes to creatives, anybody doing something, anybody that's passionate about something, especially in the start of their journey, I find it more rewarding to work with people who are new into a game.
Yeah.
Their drive to push what they're doing.
There's a different type of passion in it.
Exactly. And the ego doesn't come into it. Right?
Yeah.
So like, I remember before I started doing all this cooking stuff, I dabbled in the music industry for a little bit.
Okay.
I used to find the same thing dealing with those type of people as well. So whether it's videographers, whether it's producers, whether it's sound engineers, when I'm trying to get studio time, the people who are like just jumped into the game or they're starting to establish themselves, their humility in their work and their kind of drive to actually push what they're doing. It's so different.
There's kind of like, there's a different level of passion.
Yeah.
Which then also like supports different level of creativity. Yeah.
They just don't, it's almost as if people feel like they're doing you a favor all the time. And I think for me, I just try and keep it that way consistently. Like whatever DM I get, unless it's just super weird or super left, try my best to reply to everything. I'm just a normal guy, man.
Yeah.
Literally had the page just over a year. Like 1 year ago, I didn't have followers like that. I was just a normal guy. So all these people that seem to accumulate a following or think that they've got fans or something and their whole personality flips, I don't understand it. Maybe my perspective would change if one day I hit 150k, 200k, but at the moment,
but even then, like, you're still gonna end up being yourself.
You're the same.
Because also, like, in a weird way, that's what got you there in the first place. Like,
Absolutely.
you being yourself.
Yeah.
So like, why didn't start, changing and stuff and
But I feel like with some people, they get to a certain level and they feel like they belong to a different pocket of society at that point, right?
I hate that so much, man. Do you know what it is? Like, see with me, obviously I'm not aiming to, but if I do hit that level, like I'm always gonna show love to someone that's, you know what? There's something about underdogs. I love that stuff. Like, so I would love to just like hit up like a random person that's like brand new or they're doing the thing or whatever, and just bless them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And on top of that, it's the people that supported you when you had nothing, or the people that showed you love when you had nothing. Why would you drop them out for people that are only around because you're clouty? But then that's a generational thing, man. Like,
yeah, I think it's just like people that appreciate clout too much.
Yeah,
like, just
I almost get offended when sometimes 13, 14-year-old kids DM me something like, oh, have you got a recipe for this? And I'll be like, little broski, check my page out. And they're like, oh, you replied. I'm like, do you mean I replied? Of course I replied. Like, is this what people experience that? And this is, I'm talking 15, 20k followers. It's nothing. It's just a number on my page. People seem to get more excited by the concept of somebody else having followers. Like, people are more fixated by the fact that they see a number on my page than I am myself. But I just think that all comes from the type of person you are.
Yeah.
You're comfy in your own skin regardless. Without 220k, it doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to change who I am or how I...
Yeah, it's about someone's values and stuff. Yeah.
Whereas with a lot of people, I feel like they need that validation. So as soon as they have a reason to like re-image themselves or become something else that they really wanted to be, they don't have a use for all the people that knew them as what they were in it. So
yeah. So obviously, like, on the pod at the moment, we don't have like a huge following and stuff, but we still love for people like that are following currently to kind of get to know a little bit more. So before you do the introduction though, I've got one question for you. Yeah. So I've done a little bit of research and I watched you posted a picture and you had it captioned saying that's how a dev stare at people who don't
don't watch their chicken.
Who don't watch their chicken.
Yes.
So that's the thing, yeah. Because there's been an ongoing argument for time if people should wash the chicken or not.
Absolutely.
So like, what's wrong with like not washing the chicken, and why should people wash the chicken?
According to the NHS website, the reason why people shouldn't wash their chicken is because it splashes the bacteria around the sink. Do you people not wash your sinks? Like, big man, just wash the sink before, wash the chicken, wash the sink after.
So that's the only reason why they say people shouldn't.
It splashes the bacteria.
Yeah.
And they say that once you actually cook it at a certain temperature, it will burn the bacteria off. So you are acknowledging that when you lift the packet of the chicken, there's bacteria on it. When you put your hand on it, there's bacteria on it. When you lay it in the pan, there's bacteria on it. All I have to say to people, right, I don't like going back and forth. Wash your chicken once. Watch the color of the water that comes off the chicken.
And that's it.
Yeah. Your life will change when you see the color.
But you know what? But that's super interesting because no one's ever explained it like that before.
Yeah.
This is the first time I hear that.
Because it's salmonella, right? So this is the thing. People say if you undercook chicken, all this type of stuff, what's the reason for it? When you put running water onto it, I understand the logic that it's going to splash around the sink. Just wash the sink afterwards, man.
Yeah.
And if you actually look, like, in an Asian culture, we just wash the chicken usually with just water and maybe a little bit of lemon juice. In a Caribbean culture, it's vinegar, lemon, lime. Like, they fully scrub down the chicken in a big bucket, tenderize it at the same time. Either way, if you do it, right? If you actually look at the color of the liquid after you've done it,
yeah, it looks mad. It looks crazy.
Exactly, man.
All right, cool. So how do you want to introduce yourself?
How would I like to introduce myself? I'm just Billz, man. I'm a young man that started a cooking page about a year and a half ago. I'm enjoying it. Some of my followers would have known that I used to make music. I've worked with a couple of channels / agencies.
So when you say make music, what are you talking about? You're talking about making like instrumentals, or you're talking about like rapping?
I used to rap. Yeah, I used to rap.
Yeah.
I dropped it out recently, actually, man. So even when I first started the Billz Kitchen page, I was still making music. I've decided to focus my energies on one thing rather than kind of across the board for a few reasons. One of them, the main reason is just I don't think the two images go together. Yeah. So me narrating certain things or rapping about certain things, having a certain image, and then also trying to ensure that my page is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's still family-friendly in some ways, and just trying to be a good role model for younger kids. I can't be doing both at the same time. Yeah. And naturally, I'll be real with it. One got me a lot more success a lot quicker than the other. I love music. It'll always be a passion. I'm not saying I'll never make a song again. I would still love to hit up studio, whether it's with my friends, whatever it is. I've still got plenty of friends that producers, etc. In terms of me dropping a song,
it's a myth.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but maybe we can see some type of like kitchen music content in the future.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I would never say no to maybe making an anthem for something, right? Making like, I've got a little introduction music. If the page was to go somewhere else, if I was to start a YouTube show, for example, I would consider doing something like that. Yeah. But I had to pick one or the other. And I'll be honest, I fell out of love with the music industry a little bit, especially over the pandemic.
Why is that?
A few reasons. I think it all just got watered down a little bit, man. I know this sounds proper like hater-aidy, but too many people became bedroom rappers during the pandemic. And especially as an Asian rapper, it's difficult enough to make it in that industry. Yeah. You're put in a box by every race of people, mostly by your own people. So you're already kind of fighting an uphill struggle. Yeah. But then it to get saturated by, with all due respect, kids who watch a lot of rappers, have never really had an interest in music, and all of a sudden become rappers. I just feel like you get pushed to the side far too quickly. Yeah, you're just a meme at that point. Yeah. Not even to say that man got memed or anything, but when I see meme pages post videos of these rappers and the entire comment section is just not another one, or here's another one.
But blah, blah, blah. So you know what? There's two interesting things about music. Yeah, I think number one, I think we're getting to an era where like there's certain rappers that go to prison. Yeah. And they still have a phone in prison. They can still record music in there, and they can still actually make money while being in prison while recording music. So I think that in itself is like super interesting. But then the second thing is like it's become like a fast food. It's just like everyone's just consuming music so quick it doesn't last. Like where back in the day, certain songs and they've been everlasting. Just like it's a classic. But like now music just like cool. You listen to one thing, 2 days, 3 days, and then something new comes out onto the next thing.
But do you think that's because of the listener's mentality, or do you think it's the quality of music?
No, I think there's too many people making music.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. I think there's too much music
and gimmicky.
I mean, if you look at back in the day, it's like it was much more difficult to access music. Yeah, you know, it went from like cassettes to like
think
CDs
about the respect people used to have for MCs in this country. Like even if you go back to like garage turning into grime, right? If you were from East, it was Wiley, Kano, DWE, Dizzy Rascal, North, Skepta, Jamie, these lot, right? President T. Every single place had like its 4 or 5 MCs. Even when it started to lean into UK rap, and you had Squeaks, Nines, Potter Paper, Mover. That was also like we would sit there and IT lessons at school on YouTube watching.
But you see that era, I think that like Squeaks, like like Benny Banks, them all of that. I think DVS, all of them different rappers. Yeah, I think that era got like so it was so underrated. I think that era is what made UK music in general,
Absolutely.
like UK rap and stuff. And even now, if you listen to some of those songs, from back in the day, like they're still sick now. And it's not just because I knew of the songs, it's just they were like timeless.
Yeah, because they were proper rappers. But then you have to think they didn't have the facilities that new rappers do. The UK industry for urban music didn't make any money back then. So I think 50% of the reason that people have decided to start making music or everybody's jumped on it is because they see the bag. Right?
Yeah.
You look at the amount of money. I mean, look, the other day on Instagram I was watching and Stormzy's gifting a 1-of-1 AP to Dave.
Oh yeah.
For these guys to have
was that
money.
Dave screaming like a girl?
Yeah.
I'm just double checking. I'm not even hating
I was confused there.
I was a bit like, what? It's just,
But you see the difference, right? Whereas you look at some of these guys that we've just mentioned, do they have money? They might have clout, or man might respect them, like, oh, he's an OG. He was so hard. He used to bang his music when I was at school.
Yeah.
But where's the legacy?
I feel like these guys, like I feel like someone like Stormzy, I think these guys are like super good at like making business moves.
Yeah.
It's not even about music. Like if you think about it, they're just making some sick moves.
It's
like
the teams around them.
Yeah, like the last Stormzy thing. What was that? HSBC pledges like 2 million. For like 30 scholars and stuff like that sort of stuff. That's not nothing.
Publicity wise, it's good.
Yeah.
Even musically, right? If you look at it musically, urban music is now popular. It's acceptable. When you've got, I seen the Asda Kids advert the other day over a drill instrumental. 3 years ago, they were trying to ban drill.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that type of music would never play on the radio. Stormzy's headlining Glastonbury. You look at like even little suburban kids, right? Kids from Reading and these places used to listen to Calvin Harris and Avicii and wear like Rihanna t-shirts from River Island. Now you see them, full tech fleece, skin fade, Armani side bag.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, if you actually look at the concerts, and you look at who's there, it's all them uni students. Like,
look at the comments on drill videos.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's better than this guy.
Yeah.
Bro, like you're from Chesham. Like,
they don't know nothing. They don't even know the guy.
Exactly.
Do you know what? Speaking of YouTube comments, you know which ones are the funniest? Yeah, it's like I've seen some comments in the Trevelli section. Sometimes I check it, and it's like the Trevelli's the type of guy to tell his parents to go to sleep. It's like, like that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's like, bro, those comments are too funny. Like internet trolling is something else, man. Do you get a lot of trolls?
I used to.
Yeah,
not so much anymore.
So was that like music related or was that cooking related?
Music. Initially, yes. I think when you're a new artist, you are going to be subject to people, because a lot of the time I feel like it's almost sometimes it's people that actually not know you but know of you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So say, I don't know, I know a guy from my area, I knew what he was like his whole life. I've never liked him, and I hear he's got a tune. I'm probably going to find it funny if I'm immature to leave a stupid comment under his YouTube post.
But there's also something about like their own validation about pretending like they know someone. So regardless of if they're saying something good or something bad, but it's like, I knew this guy.
How many people do you know that will see a footballer in the Premier League and be like, yeah, I used to kick ball with him, bruv?
Yeah. That's that sort of thing. Yeah. More time they seen him one time or something.
Yeah, seen him like at the shop at Tesco with his mum or something, and used to go five-a-side with him. You probably didn't, bruv.
But I don't get that. That doesn't actually bring any value, and that happens so often. It's like someone goes, "Yeah, I know a brethren. That's my brethren's brethren. I know whatever." But why? Like, what does that actually?
Clout.
That doesn't give you anything. Like for
even the trolling, right? I look under. Forget my content, okay? I've almost had to tell people off for doing it to other people and using my name when it came to my cooking thing. So I remember about just under a year ago, I saw another guy start posting recipe videos on Instagram, and his voiceover and his commentary was very similar to mine. The style of it, the layout was very, very similar. Yeah. Even certain phrases where I'm taking the mick out of products or whatever, he was using the exact same thing, exact same songs. I didn't really think anything of it, because I'm like, you know what, man? I didn't trademark this. I didn't copyright this. It's just my personality. If somebody else wants to run with it, it's like two people having the same flow in rap.
Yeah.
People are going to think one's better than the other or vice versa. But there was people commenting under his stuff being like, stop catting Billz Kitchen. And I was just like, bro, leave me out of it.
Cool,
yeah?
that.
I know you know. We all know. But you don't need to draw people out. Let people do their thing, man. And I think people are so entitled to their opinions. You can just let somebody be. You don't have to like people's music. You don't have to like people's food. You don't have to like somebody's art. You also don't need to tell them you don't like it unless they ask you.
Yeah.
I think in certain industries, music's one where you are living off consumers, right? So you do have to care about your opinions or the opinions of your listeners.
Yeah.
That's how you make your money.
But you know what? So kind of going back to that point, I remember like J. Cole said something really interesting on one of his songs, It was just kind of like doing the ad-libs and stuff and whatever. And it was talking about basically, he was trying to make a lot of music, like based on other people's like instrumentals and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously for him to do that, because it's copyrighted, he has to go through like a process and stuff. And he goes, and at one point he said, you know what, yeah, like you've been inspired by the world.
Yeah. So
whoever made this instrumental, and he goes, allow the world to be inspired by you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So like, just give it out for free. Just like stop like, and it's kind of similar with you as well. Just like you've been inspired by someone else, and like allow other people to get inspired. And I love that. You know, when other people go like, you know what, I'm just doing my thing. No one can touch this and stuff. And people are keeping it to themselves.
Why are you so salty?
Like we're all in this
it's
together.
A compliment. I just see it as a compliment, right? When I started making music, if somebody asked me, oh, what was your inspirations? All the rappers I grew up listening to. Whether it's, you don't cap people's bars, but for flows, for style, for beat choices, it's always going to go over what type of music do you like, and somebody else was there before you.
But that's what creativity is, right?
Exactly,
it's like you put known things. Things you already know, known elements, known phrases.
Your own little seasoning on it.
Yeah,
right?
and you twist it in your own way. It's like the same way. It's like, for instance, let me just use this as an example. Like if you and other person's got the same wardrobe, yeah, the thing that's gonna make it different is like when you wake up, you decide how you're gonna wear certain things and stuff. That's what creativity is.
Absolutely.
You know?
I think going back to the trolls thing, if you're gonna put your face out on social media, you guys will know this to some extent. You might not know it, depending on how much you pay attention to this stuff. Be prepared to get trolled. It's 2021, man. You have to have thick skin.
Yeah.
And I feel like I am lucky because my natural personality prior to all of this, I've always been, I don't really care. Like, of course I care what people think because they're my consumers. They're the people that push my page. But I don't care to the point where I'd ever let it affect me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can put a recipe out, for example, that I think is the sickest recipe. I've made the episode hilarious and it will bang 4,000 views, not really that many likes, doesn't really get the interactions. And I'll put something out which was a little bit meaty because I needed content and I thought, I'm gonna eat this for dinner, let me film it, put the video together real quick, chuck it out there, 20k views. Yeah. People love it. So I think when you see that aspect of it, you can't be so like touchy on what people have to say because opinions do matter. But as long as you're confident within yourself.
But that's the thing. This was going to ask you. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, where do you stop? Like, where do you stop by saying like, you know what, opinions do matter? Like, at what point do you stop? Just go like, nah, you know what?
I always think of it as, I see this from a lot of creatives as well. When I watch podcasts or I watch interviews with people, no one can actually understand a creative person's journey other than that creative person, right? When you guys were sat thinking of this podcast, when I was making my music, when I was looking at making Billz Kitchen, I could do my best to explain my vision to you. My vision is in
but that's your vision, no
right?
one, yeah. Only
so between your vision and Aladdin's vision of this podcast, you aligned on something, but you still have your own ways of perception. If you're confident in those and you're comfortable in that, people can guide you, people can even knock you a little bit. You should never be so weak that it throws you off that path. You should always see your end goal, see where you're going down with it. Just don't stray from that. You have to live your own life.
Yeah.
Too many people care about validation, or they only act, talk, dress in a certain way because they want to fit into a certain box. Like, strip everything away, right? Strip my page away, strip whatever it is away. Who am I? If I'm a weak person, it doesn't matter what I have in life, people will knock that away from me, right?
So it's a little bit like create something to add value rather than create something to be liked or to get a certain amount of views or whatever it is.
Just trust that what you put out and what you think is amazing, other people will be naturally drawn towards it. If you consistently put out work for 3 years and nobody clicks on it, you might just be a little bit deluded, right? But no one's perfect. You can.
Man said you might just be a little bit deluded.
Do you know what I mean? I've seen certain man dropping like 15 albums and no one buys them.
If by that point YouTube algorithm is not working, then something's wrong.
And they're blaming everybody else. But there's a level of realism that has to come into it, right? But you can't flip the script on everything you're doing.
Do you think like luck has anything to do with it? Do you think sometimes
absolutely.
It's a little bit,
But you have to make your own luck at the same time. So with my page, like I said to you, I was just a rapper. I had nothing to do with food. This whole food thing was I used to put on my private story on my Snap, me basically taking a piss out, come dine with me, with my boys. Yeah. And they were just like, one day they were like, you know what, you should make a page. Make an Insta page, leave it private, 20, 30 of us will follow it and it'll just be a laugh. It's something funny to watch, right? That's what I made this page for.
So that's how you started? You were just like literally just for that?
I couldn't go out, the pandemic hit, I couldn't go out and shoot music videos. I couldn't go studio.
So how long ago was that? Like roughly 2 years or something.
March 2020.
March 2020. Yeah.
Legit, year and a half.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And it was a case of like, I couldn't follow my musical passion because of circumstances. There was no way I could even dictate that. And I took the pandemic fairly seriously in it. I didn't really want to get COVID or anything, so I just stayed away from it. I was bored. I had nothing creative to put out. So when I launched my page, it was my mates and the people that followed my other page for my music.
Yeah.
And on my music page, I think at the time I had about 3,000 or 4,000 followers. So it wasn't a massive amount.
So you still have that page, by the way? Nah, it's gone. Like, did you delete it? Did you delete it? You didn't transfer it, you just deleted it? Oh, okay,
inactive page, man. I just collapsed it.
Like, disabled it kind of thing?
Yeah. Collapsed it, man. Because I don't want the two to be interlinked in that sense. I have like a own little private family page, and I just have my cooking page. But so it was like maybe 1,000 people who follow my music page jumped onto the cooking thing, along with maybe 100 people that I know personally. And then from there, it just blew up, man. But you have to make your own luck. I knew that in a pandemic, everybody sat at home in lockdown bored. They got nothing to do. Food is universal, right? My personality may not be universal. The slang that I use may not be universal.
Well, it's not. It might not be universal all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And actually, you're right.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because to a middle class...
Food's been there for, like, basically, without food,
you might not understand the slang that I'm using. You might not understand why I'm washing my chicken. But you'll like a chicken burger. And that's how I saw it. There will be 1 to 5% in every single person that I can claw at. Right? And I had to take the hit where... This is what was jokes to me, was when I was first doing it, and I got a friend who owns a meme page, right? And he put my video out, and I gained a load of followers through, and I was thinking, oh shit, I've got to take this seriously now, right? On the flip side, you'd have guys in the comments like, why is this guy forcing slang? Why is he talking like that? This is a food page, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm just being me. You can bell my mum.
Why are you watching it in the first place? But don't watch, like, click
off, bro. Turn off your phone.
Like, when people go like, oh my God, I hate Instagram, and Instagram sucks, delete it. Like, don't use it. Why are you using it for?
Once again, it just comes back to the attention aspect, doesn't it? But it was that type of thing that initially used to frustrate me. I used to be like, how a man telling me why am I using slang or whatever? I make rap music.
Why are you making comments?
Yeah. And in that rap mentality, even with my DMs, I used to get trolls. I'd go out tit for tat with them. They'd be like, oh, your food looks burnt. I'd be like, your face looks burnt in your display picture. You have to grow up, right? You have to grow up and actually think, hang on a minute. This is not
like it's not useful. It's not productive time.
No,
anyway.
It's my brand image. It's not me with the mandem running a music page. This is a food page, and the way I wanted to make it was to be marketable to numerous people, and it has been. Some of the most rewarding aspects are like I get mums DMing me on there of like 4 kids, and they'll take a video of their little 11-year-old like chefing up prawns in a pan and be like, he watches all your videos and he thinks it's sick. No, and I never thought I could be that type of person. Like anybody will tell you that I've never woken up and thought I'm such a great role model. Like, I'm not a bad person. I've always been mischievous or whatever to some extent. I'm not going to sit here and lie out to what extent, right? Yeah. But I've never been a traditional role model or Mr. Positive. Okay, I've never been talking to the youth and pushing them to see the light. It's always been like.
But do you know what's interesting here? Just to kind of jump in quickly, like sometimes like you become more of yourself as time goes on, anyways. In general, so sometimes like like this whole like. When people have certain personality when they're younger and whatever, that's not really them. Sometimes people are just trying to fit in and trying to be a certain character and stuff because that's what's cool at that time. You know what I'm saying as well. And as time goes on, like people get older, they start becoming more of themselves and they realize the stuff I was doing before it was kind of stupid anyways.
You were saying about the luck aspect. It was lucky because the pandemic played in my favor because everyone was at home on their phones watching what I was doing. On the flip side, I knew everyone was at home watching what they were doing. So the luck helped me in terms of the interactions I was getting. Sometimes I'd post an episode, get one of my boys with a meme page to repost it. I wake up in the morning with 4,000 new followers and I'm thinking, raw. But then I kind of knew I would get more traction because of the pandemic. So rather than sit there and complain that I can't make my music, I can't do anything, what can I do to establish myself, to keep my brand moving, to take steps forward? But then it's come with so many bumps in the road further along the line. Sometimes I'll be real. I've thought I can't be bothered with this page anymore. I went it's only been 18 months, but I went for a 3-month period where I posted nothing because I was done with it.
Where did that come from? Like, what did make you feel like that you can't be bothered no more? And how did you like overcome that?
I'll be real.
Because I'll be real as well. Because sometimes like I'm not like I would never give up on this, and just to as a disclaimer, I'll never give up on this podcast. But sometimes I have these moments like, oh, I can't be bothered to shoot, or like, I don't want to shoot this weekend or this and stuff. So I kind of have these moments so I can kind of relate to what you're saying. That's why I'm like curious on what your process was.
This isn't exclusive for you. I don't actually like cooking, bro. I'll be honest. I don't like cooking. I like eating. Yeah. I've always been chubby. I'm a foodie.
You know what? That's one of the questions I had. I was going to ask you, do you prefer the process of cooking or do you prefer now you answered it.
Sit there filming for 6 hours, wash up the whole kitchen afterwards. I just want to eat. You know what I mean? But it's like, I know that I can cook. And I think I love food, right? I'm passionate about food. I'm such a critic when it comes to food, whether it's other people cooking for me. Even as a kid, my mum used to say to me all the time, she'll spend effort cooking. I'd be like, oh man, it's got too much salt in it. Like little things like that. But then it was also the flip side of what kept me going was sometimes people would legit send me messages. There'll be some brothers that send me messages and be like, I was having a really low few weeks and your videos posting once a week, they make me laugh. They make my day a bit better.
So your videos more than just like videos of you cooking and stuff. It's actually like you're basically building a community. Like
it's the responsibility of it, right? The responsibility dawned on me.
Yeah.
But I think where it wore off is when the pandemic started to ease and I went back into full-time work again. I wasn't at home as much and I was trying to juggle my personal life, my social life, my working life, all of it. I had less time and naturally a motivation dips. And I kind of hit a brick wall into thinking, where do I go from now? I want to take it to YouTube. I want to take it to television. And like I said earlier on, I had a few meetings with some companies where I basically thought I was going to be in a position to have some like A-list guests onto this show and Billz Kitchen was going to go onto TV. And I kept it all hush-hush under the wraps. Only close family and a couple of my brethren knew about it. And it fell through last minute. That proper hit me, I'll be real, because I thought that was my one opportunity where I'm thinking my guests are going to be dragging the numbers in. I'm going to be balling in a year. And for it to kind of stutter where it did, initially, I was just like, I'm done with this now, man.
But do you know what's mad though? Because that's going to be a one it's only one opportunity. It's not the only
in the grand scheme of things.
It's not the only opportunity.
But that's where hindsight's a beautiful thing. So now sitting on 6 months past it, I've had numerous conversations with other people, other platforms, other brands, and I've actually been in a position to say, you know what, I'm all right. I'm confident in me building it naturally or doing it organically. And when the time is right...
It's going back to that vision thing.
Like I'll partner up. I think sometimes you forget that the process that goes into something or the creativity that goes into something, you jump at the first sight of the bag. Because to me, this was just something I was doing on my phone during lockdown. For somebody to offer me X amount of money and you can meet... For me, it wasn't even like these people will be on your show. I was just gassed that I was going to meet these people or sit in a room with them for 15 minutes, let alone be on a show, right? So to like regular old me, this is sick. So for it to not work out, that version of me that didn't really take this page seriously was just like, oh, this is pointless then. What's the point? But then when I flip back to it and look at the creativity side or look at the responsibility, the positivity that brings to people, why am I going to give up on it? It wasn't anybody else that helped me grow to that stage.
Because that's the goal anyways, right? Yeah. It's the value you're adding for people.
Yeah. And I think that's where I've learned that my content isn't just recipes. Yeah, that's a bit of banter. It's just entertainment for people. And I try and see it from a consumer perspective. I used to sit and binge YouTube videos on food or whatever. Those people are doing the same thing with my page. And it's still kind of mad to me because I cannot explain how regular of a person I am in that sense.
So, but that's the thing. But this is the thing. So clearly, like you have your personality is adding value to it. It's not just your cooking, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like, I always say this, like sometimes people, they don't meet you, right? They're watching you through YouTube and all the other things, yeah? Even if they don't meet you, like they still have a relationship with you. Like when they're watching your videos on Instagram, it's obviously you don't know them, but they're getting to know bits of you. So they're building a relationship with you. So that's the goal. It's like the relationship's the goal. You're building a community. You're building relationships with them.
And that's why I was so happy to jump on things like this, man. Because I feel like if I can give people the outside perspective of like who is actually behind the camera, I'm not just messing about 24/7 or cooking food 24/7. I live a normal life. I work every day. You know, I come home. I can't be asked to talk to anybody. I just want to watch the football. Like it is what it is. But
what team do you support?
Chelsea, man.
Chelsea,
champions of Europe and that. Pumped Arsenal. I'm going to the bridge tomorrow as well. Going to pump Spurs as well. But yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's controversial as well. I get slewed on my page for being a Chelsea fan. They're like, how can you be a brown Chelsea fan?
You're being yourself, man. That's
it's what it is, man. No one can tell me nothing. We're in Champions League and then we can chat in it. Yeah.
But yeah, Aladdin. Since you kind of like you established a conversation with Billz and stuff initially, do you have any questions for him? Or do you have a question?
I have one.
What's good?
At the top of my mind, yeah. Why? Actually, not why. I guess it's like, what's the reason? Like, was it just that your friends told you to start the page and you started?
Boredom.
Or?
Legit boredom.
Just boredom, yeah.
I wish I had a more constructive answer to give you and be like, I'm just so passionate about music, like about food and this stuff. I wasn't. I like to eat. I was bored. I couldn't make music videos. That is legit the answer as to why I did it. And then as soon as I seen the traction it got, I was fixated by it because I had nothing else to do.
Was it ever like a thing where when you start, like you kind of, like did you have a vision when you started, or did you like have an end goal? Did you have
I had a vision to just say to myself. So I remember saying to myself, I'm going to do this for 3 months and let's just see where it gets. And I remember actually having a conversation with my siblings and my brothers. And I said to them, if I can get to 2,000 followers by, I can't remember, like after 4 or 5 months, I think it was by December in March, I'll be gassed. It got to December and I was on something like 12K. And I was like, yo, it dawned on me then that I've got a responsibility to keep it going. All the work I'd put into music, for example, or into any creative type of thing that I've done, all that dedication, all that pushing, all that drive, the promotion, why am I not giving that same energy to this just because it was a random idea? Because it wasn't something I had pre-planned for ages. For a long time, I didn't take it seriously in a sense of it's just something I was doing for the sake of it, right?
So I guess like I think that kind of leads on to my next question about how, like, let's say I'm kind of curious about the future kind of thing.
Yeah.
So one thing that Leo said the last episode, he said that he wanted the podcast to be timeless.
Yeah.
Where you can go back and watch this video and not be limited by pop culture, basically. So you know how like a lot of conversations or a lot of videos are based on what's going on then and there.
Yeah.
I want this to be like I want the same thing as Leo, basically. So I guess the question I got for you is like 5 years, 10 years, maybe even 2 years from now. 1, what is your goal? And 2, what do you have? Because you know people often say, oh, if you could meet yourself 5 years ago, what would you say? I like switching it. So my thing is, if you could meet yourself 5 years from now, what would you say?
Did you get to where you want to get to? Where I want to get to, I'll tell you. I got no qualms in telling you. Since a little kid, I've always wanted to be in a movie or on TV or something like that. I've always thought, and it was never even a case of like I did your standard dramas at GCSEs or whatever, but I didn't do any of that at uni or anything like that. I was just did the standard Asian education path.
I said Asian education.
Yeah, do bloody doctor, lawyer, do something. Yeah, exactly. So that was never in the question. But I always had faith from a kid that my personality would take me somewhere, right? Me being an idiot to my teachers or me always messing about, or my mum, my auntie's always saying he's the most mischievous kid out of everybody. I knew it would take me somewhere. I didn't know how, I didn't know when. But now that I have my foot in that door, and it is 1 foot in, I've got to keep growing it. So I think in the next 5 years, I'd love to take the show to YouTube, and not necessarily just me doing Billz Kitchen recipe videos on YouTube, me having some form of entertainment show on YouTube, potentially onto TV. I'd love to just do a Will Smith thing, man. Do everything. I mean, like
a Jack of all trades kind of thing.
Yeah, just jump into films, jump into music, do this, do that.
You know, I kind of empathize with you on that, or like I kind of relate, because see, my thing. So I started this whole media thing like literally a year ago.
Yeah.
And before that, like even to this day, I've been coaching for 6 years.
Yeah.
And I realized in the space of 6 years, in the space of 1 year in media, I made more progress than I did in 6 years of coaching. And that's when I realized it's like I knew I had abilities. You just don't know what in. Like you knew you had like transferable skills that you learned for years. Like I use a lot of my skills that I've learned from coaching in this media thing. I use a lot of resilience. I use a lot of the patience. I use a lot of the stamina. I use a lot of whatever. So like that transferable skill, but it's like it's kind of powerful to think that you know you're good at something. Yeah. But the stressful thing is that you don't know what that is.
Does that not go back to what I was saying about how only you know your vision in your head, right? Yeah. This is exactly what I meant. You may not be at the stage in your life. It could be age related. It could be experience related. In terms of you can navigate exactly what path you're going to go down. But I feel like every person deep down knows what type of person they are or they're going to be.
That's the thing that I find so stressful is like, you know, I see my vision, but like I said, like, you know how the whole, you don't know you're good at something, but you don't know what it is. And it's that realization of, oh, it's this thing that I'm good at. It's so uplifting and it's like a weight lift off your shoulder. It's like, oh, you realize, like for you, I'm sure you had the same experience, same feeling when you realized that the cooking thing was gonna bang. Yeah. It's like, oh, like it's finally dawned on me that this is what I have to do. It was almost like that movie kind of, oh, it's my purpose. I must go and, you know what I'm saying, save the world or you know, that kind of thing. Like I realized.
But I think it comes with a flip side of stress. because now you've got the responsibility to make sure you're pushing that as much as you push everything else.
It's good stress, isn't it? Like
it is.
There's good type of stress. There's good.
You see, like with your coaching, all right, or with me working my normal job, I have an obligation to get up in the morning and go do that because it pays my bills. Billz Kitchen pays me. I don't care what people seem to think that because I've got a certain amount of followers.
That's why it's called Billz Kitchen.
Yeah, I make it's just a kitchen which costs me hella bills. Yeah, that's all it is. People seem to think that I've got some like influencer lifestyle and I get sent this and that. Bro, big up everyone that sends me like sweets and stuff. Yeah, that makes my week because I don't get nothing else really. Bruv, innit? One t-shirt a month, for, like a packet of sweets, and I shout at their business. That is lit, but it's literally the obligation you have to go live that side of your life. Being plan A will always be there. But our responsibility as creative people is to take plan B or the passion and make it plan A. Your working life will always be there. Like, I don't think that in the next 5 years, for example, you asked me, I would be able to be in a position, I hope I am, that I don't still have to go do a corporate job or do something along those lines. I'd love to. But in the next 10 years, why not? If you can flip it, right? You found your purpose, you found your passion. Why can't that be your plan A, which is your obligation to get up and go to work and do your thing?
I guess, see, I agree with you, and I've always been the type, like Leo will back me when I say this, like in terms of what I believe. I always had this thing where I never want to work a 9 to 5. I never want to work for the white man. I never want to work for the retail or whatever. Like, I hate that idea. Yeah. And I love the idea of like it's like mindless jobs, isn't it? I hate mindless jobs, and I love creative jobs and jobs that you generally have a passion for. Yeah. But I'm also someone that likes to play a devil's advocate and kind of understand both sides. Yeah. A lot of people say that you can't do your passion. Furthermore, I had a conversation with someone recently about it, and she was telling me about how I can't have my passion as my job because that didn't transfer, like that kind of ruins your passion in a way.
Big cap. Why can't you have your passion as your job? What about all the people that are the most,
Cause I think it's because like your job, whatever if you want to call it your job, is like you have to go at certain times and whether you're in the mood or not.
No, but I just like that's life. I'm just thinking about my job. Like I would disagree with that. Like I think, do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm gonna put this in a very different kind of, in a super deep way. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, you're an experience. I'm an experience. You're an experience. So every single person is an experience, right? And it's like we collect experiences as we go along. So I think it's all about becoming their experience that can create a better experience or good experience for someone else. And that's what we offer. Like you offer an experience. Yeah. So people that watch your stuff, like they're experiencing something, and you're an experience. You're a collection of experience. I know it sounds mad, but that's what it is. It's like
how I would say it to Aladdin is like, bro, people who say to you that your passion can't be in your job think that because it's your passion, you're not going to have good days or bad days, right? That is life. You look at, right, let's take production into something, video production. Look at somebody like Tarantino, right? Makes the maddest films ever. And all of his films have something in it that's super Tarantino-ish because it's his passion. Right? He puts his spin on everything. He defo has stressful days on set where he wants to sack it off and doesn't want to do it.
I think what she was trying to come across, what she was trying to deliver was the fact that when you do your passion, you do it out of choice. Yeah. So when you're not feeling it more, you don't have to do it. You can just not do it. And that's that freedom of and like I said, like I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm on your side now. If anything was an argument, because I was proper back in my side and she was proper back in her side and whatever. But I guess that's the point she was trying to make, is that you got to choose. You had that freedom of choice on when to do what you want to do.
It would water it down. Like if your passion became your 9 to 5 and becomes your obligation, like I'm saying, of course it's going to water it down. Because if you're choosing to make something which you do for pleasure and for happiness into what pays your bills, because let's be real, we live in a Western country where it's not, it ain't cheap, man. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it is as well? It's about alignment. It's like how well do you align with the job that you're doing? Yeah. You know, because like obviously like, and that's the thing, it's like, and there's going to be an alignment and there's also going to be like, how much does it cost? Because like, can you misalign with something for the higher cost of like how much you're going to get paid? You know, like, because there's jobs people hate, man. Yeah. But when they get a paycheck, they're like, cool, like it was kind of.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was kind of worth it.
I know so many people like that. So many people can't stand their jobs, but the lifestyle it facilitates because of the money they're paid, it will do. It's a compromise worth taking. I think for certain people, so like back to your point, and for me, I struggle with that. It doesn't matter what amount of money you pay me. Me too. If I don't enjoy my job, I can't motivate myself to do it properly. And there's a fine line because I would still say I'm very money motivated. I'm not one of these fairyland people that just thinks, I can only do something that I'm so passionate about. It's big cap. You have to live in the real world, right? And I think, especially coming from a certain demographic, that men have a real responsibility to be the breadwinners, to be the providers. I can follow my passion all I want, but I can't compromise what my responsibilities are. So finding that balance is difficult, but once you have your foot in the door, you just have to find a way to get there. Yeah. And only hard work is going to get you there. I think people who get knocked off that course, it just separates the men from the boys, in my opinion.
And it's also about balance. It's like, how much are you willing to sacrifice for the money? Like, you know, how much?
Some people genuinely hate their jobs, but their money compromises enough. For those of us that can't compromise, like money isn't enough on its own for us to not be following our passion. Yeah, you've got to filter it down to, I need this amount of money because it's my responsibilities dictate that I need it. I also need to have this level of enjoyment, but I don't mind settling for X, Y, and Z too, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of people these days, so going back to, I can literally relate this all the way back to the whole music thing and everything. People want such short-term success these days as well. How many people jump on a music thing or they jump on this, jump on that? Within 6 months, they don't do it anymore. And you're not going to make a tune. It's not, you're not going to be Central C in 6 months.
Yeah, even Central C, like I was looking at one of his interviews.
He's been doing music for years. Years, bro.
You know what? Almost every single person, unless they just became some TikTok celebrity overnight, because that can happen as well. But every single person that I've kind of watched, they've been doing it for time. They've been consistent for years, and people just think like, overnight they just woke up and they started doing this. Nah, it's a consistency thing, man. Yeah.
You got to wait for your moment, man. God's timing sometimes, innit? If you can't have that consistency in your mind and that genuine will to work, you have to have that vision. Yeah. No one else is going to have it for you. There'll be plenty of times where people doubt you, whether it's your own family, whether it's your friends who think, I don't know if this is for you, man, or I don't know if it's going to go the right way. But you say, you know what? I hear that. And I love you. I trust your opinion. I know what I'm doing.
But it's my life, innit?
I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And you have to be willing to get to that point. Too many people get knocked off their path and then
they're listening to every single person. And
then they're sat there being like, oh, yeah, obviously I could have been like my man, but I broke my knee. I could have played for Arsenal. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The same old stories that we hear all the time.
There's the kind of metaphor. So a guy owns a gold mine and he's just like mining gold every single day, mining, no gold. Then one day he just gives up and he just sells the gold mine. The next person that bought it mines it for the first day and they find gold.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I've seen so many people that's been this close and they just go like, you know
persistence, man. Yeah. You need some persistence. But isn't like life can change your persistence, right? Your circumstances can change, your mentality can change, things can happen. But resilience, I think for any creative industry, whatever you go into, whether it's behind the camera, in front of the camera, whatever type of content you're pushing out, you need to have some form of resilience.
It's kind of like, it goes back to mindset, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to mindset. It's a super powerful thing. And I think, I've said this, I think in one of I think it was like in the third episode we've done. And it's free, like it's free to change. Like, it doesn't cost anything. So like a lot of people don't actually want to change it, which is, to me, like it just baffles me. And I just play it because what's the worst that can happen if you just like looked at things from a different point of view? Yeah. You know?
Perspective is key. And I think people don't, especially the younger lot, right? I'm literally in my mid-20s, but when I see people at 17, 18, 19 think they know the answers to everything, they don't understand how much their perspective will be changed in 18 months or 2 years. You may not have the answer to something now, but you will find the answer, right? How I perceive my page or the content I put out now or my goal at the moment will have changed by the time I'm 25, 26, 27. So I think you've just got to be open-minded enough to know that there's going to be variables in what you're doing, but you have to stay true to the reason you started what you're doing and never alter the person behind the idea. If you're true to yourself, everything else will fall in place. And
love that, man.
Yeah, it's just, with me, if I am honest with myself and I say no matter what content I put out, in what avenue, whether it was my music, whether it's my cooking stuff, whether it's I go into TV, I go into film, if I watch something back or I listen to this podcast back and I say, you know what, Billz, that was Billz. I wasn't doing something because I'm sat in front of Leo today. Or if I go into like a really middle class, upper class podcast and I start saying, oh yes, you know, actually quite, like, I need to be consistent with what I am. Because people can see consistency. How many people have you seen?
And you're authentic as well. You're also authentic at the same time.
I just try to be it's not even trying to be myself.
You are being yourself.
Yeah. And I think that can also bug a lot of people because I should be more.
Right, things will bug people all the time anyways, man.
Who cares, man? You know what I mean? You tough, right? You be aight.
Yeah, haters, man. Stop commenting. You know, that's just, the commenting nonsense, but, you know. Cool. Look, we're coming to an end. 2 things. Yeah. Is there anything you want to promote to the 50 to 100 people that's watching this?
Yeah, follow up the page, man. Billz Kitchen _ I got some merchandise coming. I got a 20K followers special coming in the next couple of weeks. We got everybody that dropped a follow in the last 18 months, man.
Yeah. But yeah, no cap. I'm gonna buy one of your t-shirts, and I'm saying this on camera, and
the extra small size.
Yeah, no, medium. I said extra small.
Yeah, man. Just keep supporting, keep doing your thing. Reach out to me, any videographers out there, any podcast owners, any kids trying to push music. I'm no guru to know the answers to everything, but I just want to help people.
I love that.
Be creative, man, and especially within my demographic of people, because a lot of people, like we were saying, get told you need to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, and there's so many creative minds out there that just need nurturing and need somebody to say to them, it is okay to.
Do you think? I know I was meant to squeeze in another question, but do you think that's going to change? Like, because obviously, like I just feel like there's going to be a different generation coming up. And
I would say that, but then I look at the way that my generation or the generation below me reacts to their peers. So I know, for example, on the music thing, and I understand this argument. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, music's haram. Asian people, Muslim people shouldn't be making it, right? And also how the families would perceive it. Like, oh, you're talking about, whether it's even somebody's reality, right? You're talking about drug dealing, you're talking about crime, you're talking about flexing and showing off, you're not being humble. Or even just people seeing people on social media. Like, I think a lot of people don't like the idea that I am happy or I'm confident to sit in front of a camera and talk about who I am and what I do, because in their environment, in their home, their parents just want them to go be a lawyer, come home and shut up.
Oh, they wouldn't want to do that.
They're not allowed, right? They've never had it in their mind that actually they can be an expressive person. They can be an extrovert. They're just introverted, have to do this. So when they see somebody else doing it, it's like, what are you doing? This isn't acceptable in our culture. This isn't acceptable in our community. So yes, I think it will change to an extent, but we need people to actually lead the way.
Yeah.
We need people to lead the way, and people need to broaden their perspectives. Do I think they will? Time will tell. But we can hope and pray, man.
Yeah.
Hope and pray.
It's not overnight change anyways. Cool. So the final question is, if you could say one thing to the whole world, what would you say?
Wash your chicken. You get me? Wash your chicken.
Alright, cool. Is that it? Yeah,
that's a wrap, man. That's a wrap.
Cool. Wash your chicken, man. Cool, man. Love to have you on.
Love for having me on, boys. Appreciate it, man.
Come on. That was lit, man.